Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel here today. Today we're going to be watching 2 more episodes of Apothecary Diaries, kind of rounding out that first 3 episodes, which I've since learned kind of dropped at the same time when the show first aired, so it's kind of something I probably maybe should have considered, watching all of those in one go. It's done now. Anyway, we're going to catch up here today with this session. Let's put it that way. Last week was an intriguing opener, I would say. There's a few little hints of stuff further on. I also think in retrospect I get a lot of the theming a lot more. I touched on it briefly early in the portions last week where I started to talk about the theming, but it's definitely leaning towards this kind of dichotomy between the different roles of women in society. What is at this stage the difference between a courtesan and one of these people in one of the palaces that are, you know, sleeping with the emperor for power and that kind of thing? You know, this whole area of the palace that is only, you know, women and people that can't have children. You know, it's definitely speaking to something like that, and roles and that kind of thing. And especially this dual premise being gotten across with our main character in Mau Mau, and the 2 different sides of her that are supposedly going to come out if that opening is anything to be believed, I guess. There's also the element of the flower as well. Flowers are very beautiful, associated with, you know, perfuming and smell nice and that kind of thing, right? But then we must also remember that flowers are also ingredients in poisons and other things in apothecary. So again, on one level, you're this apothecary that's kind of from a lower class of society. On another end, you may transform into something else. Which side will ultimately be successful? I think that's ultimately what we're getting at in the show. But again, I'm kind of yapping a little bit too early. Let's bring up those YouTube comments, shall we? From last week. I have 4? Yeah, 4 with a few replies. Sure. First comment here from 2 plus 4 times 5. Well, again, I've done this math in the past. If we're taking BODMAS into equation, it's actually 22. Very cool. But if you have some brackets around this first part, then it becomes 40. Wait, does it? Becomes 30. Yeah. I don't know, man. Math was never my strong suit. But either way, this comment goes on to say that the subs I have are basically trash. Very similar to this reply here from Sal as well, which is specifically calling out, like, they said that they gave birth to the Eastern Palace. Again, I filled in the gaps there and I knew that they were talking about the prince. But apparently there's something specific with this stuff, the language stuff, where it's a very easy mistake to kind of translate Eastern Palace and, you know, Crown Prince as the same different thing. Either way, we can see how they got confused, put it that way. So for this week, I've gotten subs please. It should just be what's on Crunchyroll or wherever else this is streaming. I don't know where this is streaming. But it should be very similar. So hooray for subs please. They've done me good in the past, should be good here again today. If you want me to do MTBB, which I think somebody else suggested, maybe Pencil Sharp, was it here? No, it was on Discord maybe. Somebody else suggested MTBB. If that's a better solution and people will agree on that being a better solution, then yeah, we'll do that. But yeah, I guess I'll need to catch up with names and that kind of thing based on this new subset. But yeah, I am changing things, as I said here. I will change things up. I'm a bit all over the place here, but into Sal's comment now. She called the man Oyaji. Okay, so it wasn't Oji-san like I thought it was, which actually people would call their dad. So again, potentially you're implying that that's her father, which isn't out of the question, I guess. It just begs the question of, there was a flashback towards the end of the first episode, and I was implying that it was about her mother. We will see. And again, what is going on there between the apothecary, like that's there right now, the old man, and, you know, if it is Mau Mau's father, then what happened to Mum? Either way, they're setting up these questions to be uncovered later on. I shouldn't get too predictive too early. And yeah, just going into the language stuff here, because it's quite interesting. While that isn't wrong to translate it as Eastern Palace heir, because they do indeed say Torgu, in which another reading is Tor, which can mean east, and Gu, which on its own used to refer to the palace, shrine, imperial court, but combining these together should change the meaning to Crown Prince. Or at the very least, it is one of the possible meanings, and the one that the initial subtitles used. Neither subtitle is wrong, but Crown Prince works better here, because what do you mean when you say you give birth to an Eastern palace? Language stuff. And as we'll get into with Pencil Sharp's comment here as well, I'm going to struggle greatly because Chinese names are another level like along from the Japanese stuff. So I already kind of struggle with the Japanese sometimes. So like jumping up to the Chinese, which is like going through two sets of translation, one from Chinese to Japanese and then from Japanese to English, I think I'm going to struggle a little bit, guys. I'm going to be real. Bamps here is just commenting about Aoi Yuki as well, obviously referencing Symphogear here, where she does not nothing but screaming, but a lot of screaming. She's very good at yelling, Aoi Yuki, so shoutouts to that. Maybe she'll get to do that a little bit later in the show. Again, we've been through it. So of course with Mao Mao, there's two sides to it, of course, as well, as I've talked about. One side that's sort of the curious and into the apothecary and can't do nothing. Ignorance is sin was a line from last week as well. And then there's the other side that wants to just get out of here, just go back to her old life, run away, stay hidden, all that kind of stuff. And those two sides are in conflict pretty often, which is entertaining to me. But as I was going to say last week, curiosity killed the cat. We must remember that. And is her curiosity going to pull her into something which she can't get out of? We'll see. So again, maybe this screaming side will come out a little bit more as that other side of her blossoms, blooms potentially as well. And last comment here from Pencil Sharp. I'm reminded that this was another show that did the 3-episode drop at the start. There we go. So we're going to be finishing off that there today. I'll share the Sakuga blog article later. One interesting thing about this adaptation is combining the influence of the light novel in two separate manga adaptations. This is another great point. So I noticed this as well. The light novel was start of the 2010s, I believe, somewhere there. And then it's gotten two separate manga adaptations through the later portions of the 2010s. Before, hey, this anime gets announced. It's based on the original light novel, I believe, but also taking in influences from the two other adaptations that have come before it. So, like, that's it. That's interesting to me. I think, yeah, having something that has been adapted a number of times and taking influence from all these different adaptations is something novel to me. I think that's, yeah, we'll see how that manifests. Not that I've read any of the, adaptations, but, people will keep me informed, I'm sure. Character designer Nakatani is a name I know from Precure and comes with the face and hair shapes. The vibrant color coding of the consorts stand out to me. She's also specifically credited on the OP, Hana ni Nate. Oh yeah, true. Become a flower. Yeah, true. That is what that translates to. So a couple things here. Now that you mention it, Precure and the vibrant color coding of the consorts, yeah, they do seem kind of magical girly, which is funny. Very, very strict color coding too, which I guess I should have read into a little bit more last week as well, but I digress. As I've talked about, the Chinese names will get a little bit weird. For example, Liha is pronounced in Japanese as Rifa, so, and then are they saying that in the show? I didn't even notice. I think they're saying Liha, and that's kind of what I'm copying, but again, I've got no clue. I'm just kind of going. Exposition Friendo is voiced by Masaki Kuno. She's Tubako Haisatsuki in, of course, Hibike Euphonium, and also Elf9. We love Elf9. Again, Symphogear, if people didn't know. We're Elf9 enjoyers, so sure. She's just funny. I think... Anyway, watch Symphogear, it's good. And yeah, we're just implying that the toxic makeup that was used probably had a lead component to it, which, hey, you probably shouldn't put a bunch of lead on your skin. It's probably bad for you. So yeah, I mean, there wasn't anything specific to that makeup, at least right now. Maybe we'll learn more when the video goes public and people have some more knowledge. I don't know. Either way, that's the comments for this week. Should have given my stuff enough time to download. Maybe. Almost. I still have to do the Patreon shout out as well, of course. So let's do that. So as I said last week, I have a Patreon if you wanted to give me some money every month. You could get the videos 1 week early. Should be episodes 4 and 5 up there if things go to plan. Things haven't been going to plan lately though, so... we'll see. Many people have done this, up to and including Annie Gregg, Mickey Babbers, Trails++, Adley, Anders Harlan, Bobbin, Chobo Ribby, Domobot, Ed, Emily A, Fleur Nightingale, Fruit, Gloriana Tenebrae, Gus N, Heath, Hex, Ika, Yako Yavanen, Joran, Caitlin 10,000, Clem, Nosta, Lou, Max, Mish, Nick, Parnick, Pencil Sharp 333, Pseudonym Van Dyke, Ronlad BNK, St. Lily, Sal, Sam1373, Skeleton, Surrogate Corpse, Without a Net, Zach, Binchy, Hans Peter, Kelvin, Marsh, Aidan O'Brien, Ramen Boy, and Ron Tiki. So thank you to all those people that have given me money. I like the money, of course. Again, I've kind of talked about it already, but last week we'll kind of introduced to the world and a few other characters, notably Mau Mau, of course, our main character, as well as Jinshi, who seems to be this eunuch guy that's associated with Lady Gokyo. So I don't know what's going on there. I think this next 2-episode little bit is going to be diving into whatever the hell the poisoning setup from the end of last week was, as well as whatever this relationship is between Jinshi and Gokyo, who seem to be two people that we're going to be associated with now, considering we're now, by the events of the end of the episode, Gokyo's lady-in-waiting. I thought that was the wording there, but again, the subs will change. We're associated with her. We've been promoted to one of her elite employees. Other than that, Mau Mau's going to try to get out of here and not become further associated with what's going on, while simultaneously wanting to become further associated with what's going on, especially when the poisonings show up and she gets to show off her apothecary skills. So we're going to see. I'm going to bring those episodes up now, and I'll probably do both in a row. So I'll do episode 2 and then episode 3, and then come back for a little bit of discussion. I don't know when that may be. It may be tomorrow. It may be right after. We'll see. But yeah, let's get those episodes up now. Just some more show stuff. If you wanted to talk more about the show with me, I have a Discord channel, and you can access that however you like. It's a link in the description, and there's lots of stuff to do there, of course, if you feel so inclined. Comment below. I like to get active in the comments and reply when I can. So again, if you want to hear more about that kind of stuff, especially patrons, you can comment below, and I'll do what I did before, of course. Like the video, subscribe. Alright, that's enough. Let's get into this thing, shall we? Rightio, I have episode, whatever this is, episode 2. Why did I forget? There's only been like one episode thus far. Anyway, of Apothecary Diaries. It's up here ready to go. There's 22 minutes and 50 seconds on the video length. I'm using the subs please version, so it should be very similar to whatever else is out there. Oh my god, I can't speak today. There's a picture-in-picture version in the description below if you feel so inclined to use it as well. And with that, we'll give it a 3, 2, 1. Radio? 3, 2, 1. Go! Oh yeah, the opening's a banger, now I remember. That'll wake you up on a Thursday morning. Yeah, so rewatching the opening was one of the major things that clued me into a lot of this theming. So flowers in bloom versus the just kind of the blossom ready to go, versus the character of Mau Mau. So is she a flower yet to bloom at the moment? What does blooming mean? Does blooming come along with poisonous, I guess, implications as well? The loss of the freckles as well is interesting. The loss of a unique identifying factor. So is that birthmark there, I'm still calling it, the little wound. It seems to be a double-edged sword, I'll say as well. Because, hey, she seems pretty confident in, you know, slay while dancing, which is cool. But again, what does that look there mean? And why does it dissipate? And then what do these looks mean at the end? It's a very interesting opening. Here are the horses. Yeah, this is from last week. Old mate gets poisoned. Yeah. Oi! Hopefully you didn't eat any. Oh. I will. Yeah, who are you? Who are you? The barbarians. Yes. So we're using concubine now. Yeah. I'm getting that implication. Porn, you reckon? Yeah. I don't think she will, though. Oh, I'll make sure she can't. Interesting. The voice acting's very funny. And not working. I thought there was an implication last week that potentially you thought that he was attractive. But maybe not the overt stuff like that. The very Bishonen stuff. Not quite as into. That's me. Honyang. Sure. I like the flower in the hair there. Shaolin. I'm getting names. Slowly but surely. Of course. I have a parlor in my house as well. The only thing I cook is drugs. Oh, look at this gaggle of ladies. I recognize that voice. Okay. Am I going to have to dress in the same clothes? There was something with her hands there. I wonder what that was. Huh? What is happening? Okay. I'm lost. Oh, they saw... Okay, gotcha. No, I think it's something a little bit more poetic. Let's put it that way. Nah, she's alright. Okay, bye. Yeah, it's a nice room. They seemed pretty nice. Yeah, worried. Oh. Um. Yeah, it's serious business. I was about to say she was like, "Oh, free meal," and I'm like, people are getting poisoned all the time in this shit. It still could be very yummy. That's nice. What's a snake? Oh, really? Oh, interesting. Smarter than we think, maybe. Or smarter than we thought. Yeah, so you wanted to kind of spite them a little bit. Yeah, pretty much. Why'd you troll me? Oh, a bit of wood. Okay, gotcha. And now money becomes a motivator. I think that's the idea. That scene kind of went over my head a little bit. Yeah, gotcha. I want to work, damn it. You're doing a lot of animal stuff with Mau Mau. That's a good sound effect. Yeah. It's an interesting one. We'll talk about it. They look good. Um, okay. Isn't he a eunuch? Anyway. Yeah, that's what I'm curious about as well. Oh, yeah, of course. Oh. He was trying to get her to eat them, which is still not great, but sure. You're like immediately ill as well. Okay. I think the villagers are scapegoats. What are the flowers? It's true. We used it as a metaphor last episode. Oh, so it could have been in the cooking process. Oh, yeah, exactly. What? I get to make something? Okay. I get to do my job? Okay. Why are you obsessed with aphrodisiacs? That's what I was going to talk about last week as well. This motherfucker, he reminds me of those guys from Fruits Basket. Specifically Shigure. So, again, take that information how you will. Oh, interesting. And you kind of like that? Pervert? I do like the stuff about him being used for his looks, though. I'm finally going to go do my job. Who the hell are you? Gaoshun. Okay. Did you just say skibbity? I hope not. Stop. The brain rot. Oh, this place is hella nice. Look at all the ingredients. What is that? What is that? Yeah. Uh, okay. She's making a freaking potion. Chat room, is this real? Or is this fake? Like potions. Do potions exist? What is medicine if not a potion? Anyway. Also, that was Mum, by the way, was it? Anyway, I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, that was a foreboding shot. It's a beautiful coloured sky. What? Oh, they all tried him. Gotcha. I see. Yeah, 3 gone. These motherfuckers are giga horny. Yeah, she seemed to be okay with it, though. Hey, yo. We're getting a bit explicit. I don't know about all that. Okay, bye. Yeah, it's in the name. Sup? Alright, Mau. How are we feeling about this? Teleports behind you. Alright, he got 2 giga hella horny. What the fuck? Brother, what is that? Alright, so a couple questions. We didn't really... Well, we kind of did learn a little bit more about the camp stuff with the soldiers, but I thought that was going to be the focus. That was going to be the implication. But instead we had a episode focused around aphrodisiacs. Interesting. Again, talking to... we're doing a lot more with Jinshi, just in general. Yeah, just... There's stuff around him using his looks for certain stuff versus Mau using her. It's what people assume you are versus what you actually are. We met a couple new characters as well. I'm waiting for everything to come together, kind of like a free run, and then it's like, okay, the rest of the show starts from here. I'm waiting for a big picture thing to occur. Like maybe something with the Emperor. Maybe. I feel like we've successfully established things now. We're just waiting for whatever's next. Mau is cute. We're definitely doing the low fidelity, like chibi version cuteness stuff, which again, you know, your mileage may vary. But I think it's charming enough. She's a charming main character. I'll give her that. Laugh a minute. Yeah, what is this as well? I don't know whatever the fuck that is. That's scary. Yeah. And yeah, as I explained before, we'll just jump right into episode 3 right now. Let's do that. Rightio, I have episode 3 of the Apothecary Diaries up there ready to go. 22 minutes and 50 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly with your own copy here, of course. There'll be a picture-in-picture version in the description below, and using the subs please version. Let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Rightio, 3, 2, 1, go. Back into that opening again. So it's interesting that, again, the rest of the ladies in waiting, they think that her kind of wound on her arm is like evidence of abuse or something that she needs sympathy for or something like that, right? There was a reason why she was hiding it. I'm pretty sure, like, if you see something like that, it'll devalue you somewhat as well. Wondering if she could use makeup to hide it in the future, maybe as well. But the point being, like, Mao Mao doesn't seem to be the one that's particularly, like, scared about any of it, right? Like, she doesn't seem to care about it. She like experiments on it and stuff. It isn't a sign of shame for her. Yeah, I guess she's wearing the kind of flared sleeves there, which kind of hide it as well. Just again, as this show is, it's pretty fascinating on the plot perspective, right? I'm just trying to look that one level deeper and see some theming as well. A few metaphors here and there. And what they're trying to say about the characters. Maybe trying to read ahead somewhat as a result. Indeed. Yeah, you too. Fuyo? And then you. You're some kind of spirit. But clearly not. It's got quite nice dental work, though. The sand and the sunlight. Okay, so you guys are from all over the place. Yes. I see. Yeah, to look out for stuff like that. Poison needle in the dress or something was that? I'm fine. I really am fine. I'm not eating like grass clippings. Yeah, that'll be interesting to investigate. A spirit. Elf9's back. Yeah, Lady is interesting too. I thought it looked more masculine. But you never know. The call was coming from inside the house? Yeah, right. So the person at the very start of the episode, they were attacked? Question mark, and they were just a rando? He's probably profiteering off of you. Um, the sound effects. No, my food. Yeah, what's his deal, I guess, is the question. A little bit. Okay, bye. Sleepwalking. It's something I can remedy with a concoction. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not a doctor. Talk to the purported doctor over there. He'll sort you out. What's he doing? Ugh. Alright, let's go for a walk. Gao Shun, I believe your name was. What is that even meant to mean? Over my head, but sure. Oh. Yeah, he gets off on it. Stop doing it. Alright, where's this person? Yeah, correct. They do come over the wall. In the moonlight. Yeah, it's kind of a gorgeous scene. Yeah, definitely a woman. Oh. Then what was the scene in the very start of the episode then? I see. Bestowal. Okay, thanks. Yeah, what is the association between Fuyo and Jinshi? Okay. It's almost like there's two sides to her or something. Keeping an eye on it. Delicate, right? Oh. Gotcha. I'm liking this flower stuff. What was that look? That tracks. Mm-hmm. Sounds very similar. Yeah, but her feet were dirty, right? So it's like she was outside. Seems like it. So creepy old man. It seems very, very similar. Don't give him anything. Yeah, that sounds like a good solution. That's tragic. No, I feel very bad about that. What do you mean? It's a very beautiful shot. You have to be with the military guy. There she goes. It's in your best interest to tell her the truth, I think. Yes? Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that? I see. Yeah. So they cut him a deal, basically. Yeah, people are being manipulated a lot in this show. Moving around like pieces on a chessboard. Interesting. Yeah, but that backfired. Hmm. Interesting. I feel like that was probably better executed in a novel format. Felt very Monogatari, where Monogatari is sometimes like, here's all this stuff. Hello, sir. Love the music here. Okay. Interesting. I guess I misread something. I thought, isn't that the military officer guy? I thought that was the... Is that the same as the childhood friend? Anyway, whatever. Because my read on the scene, maybe we learnt that through the scene. Because my read on the scene early was it was like she was walking off to her fucking doom. Some kind of love potion. Hey, yo. That's all. It's all very gorgeously directed, though. I loved that sequence. I just didn't really get it. Yeah. Who the hell are you? Okay. More plot is coming. That's nice. There's the ED. I don't know if I'm just fucking stupid. I don't know if you can tell. Yesterday was a terrible day at work, and I didn't sleep very well. So it could just be me, and I'll just pick up on everything in the little post section when I go back through the episodes. Now or later, I don't know when I'll do that. But that wasn't my read on that episode at all. It was like, this is this grand tragedy for Fuyo, what's happening, right? Especially the, I guess that's the twist. That the twist is that, oh yeah, she was actually planning this the entire time, and people thought she was being moved around like a chess piece. She was actually moving herself around, right? It seemed like it was a curse that the Emperor didn't pick her based on her mistake, but in reality, she did it on purpose to get this desired outcome. And again, between these two episodes as well, we're contrasting love at the very end with lust through the, aphrodisiac stuff. If I can capture Mao Mao's feelings, that being Jinshi, he can manipulate her as well. So again, we're talking about like this grand mix of like what is real, what is fake, what is manipulation, what is real feelings, and blurring the lines between the two. A lot of that kind of stuff. Okay. Okay, we're back with Liha, it seems like, as well. We will see. Sure. Yeah, listen, chat room. I think the plan is going to end up being, we'll call it here today, we'll come back tomorrow, we'll have another good look, and then I'll edit that morning, and then we'll try to get that out by Friday. So it'll be a day late, which sucks, but again, this week has sucked as well. And again, Utena ran long, and anyway, nobody cares. But like, I'll be back tomorrow, is my point, and we'll have another good look, and we'll try to figure things out a little bit more. A lot of the show's going over my head at the moment, it seems like, and I wonder if, again, on rewatch, it'll just click into place a little bit more. We'll see. Thoroughly enjoyable, though. I'm really enjoying some aesthetic decisions more than the first episode. I think noticeably it's higher fidelity now. Some nice sweeping sequences of direction and some really nice music to boot. So yeah, I mean, I'll see you tomorrow and we'll have another look at the episode and try to figure things out a little bit more. Hey, just a heads up to everybody, this section got like heavily copyright striked, so I'm just going to go full scorched earth and just kind of put like a black square over the corner of most of this analysis. So sorry if the picture looks kind of lame and I may like highlight things on the page that you can't see because of the copyright strike stuff, but this is going to be what I'm going to have to do in this case. We'll reassess next week to see if I can be less stop-starty with it. Like, I'll just make sure that I keep my finger off the pause button at all. I'm going to make sure it's completely paused before I play anything, because that seems to be what it doesn't like. So, yeah, pretty frustrating, but hey, it is what it is. We're trying to get the video out there. We're trying to get it so copyright strikes don't hit me. Very, very cool. So, yeah, I'll enjoy the rest of the video, I guess, as much as you can. So, that was episodes 2 and 3 of the Apothecary Diaries, and what did I think of them? I will say they went in an unexpected direction, especially episode 3, and I think it's for the betterment of the show ultimately, right? So again, I'm still yet to go back through and see episode 3 again, but now thinking about it, I think I fell hook, line, and sinker for the bait of that section. We're meant to be feeling really sorry for... It started with a Y, hang on, let me look it up. It was Lady Fuyo, that's it didn't start with a Y, I was being dumb. Okay. So Lady Fuyo, we're meant to think that this is an unequivocally bad thing for her, that from this opening scene, it's like, okay, something bad has happened. This is a reward. This isn't a reward. That kind of thing, right? As it turns out, she's playing the system in the very end. She's, again, my interpretation there at the very end is this military commander guy is also the childhood friend, because they're both from the same area, right? So he's elevated his status to where he can now be with the one he loves, and she has kind of devalued her status to the point where she could be with the one she loves. So they meet in the middle, and in this weird kind of fucked up system, they can now be together, right? Where you think, okay, well, she ultimately aspires for the same thing that everybody else aspires for, which is, being with the emperor and, this whole thing that we have going on here in the court. She wants the top like everybody else does. No, in reality, she's seeking love, and she's seeking a specific love with a specific person. And again, that's why Gyokyo feels kind of jealous at the very end, right? I envy her. She's off to, be with the one she loves, and there's this really gorgeous sweeping montage at the very end. So again, I think that I've kind of fell hook, line, and sinker for her lies as well, if that makes any sense, right? So her whole ploy is to make it seem like this is a terrible thing for her, but in reality, it's a great thing. And again, that's me not reading between the lines a little bit and being surprised by the very end. And again, now we have all that out in front of us. Now we can kind of talk about the implications for the other characters off of this. And then it becomes a little bit more interesting. So, I underestimated this show. I guess that's where I'm coming at this from. Because, I didn't think that we would go for something this complex this early. I thought we were still establishing, not breaking establishments. So I thought we were just, establishing, hey, this system bad. And again, there's so much in this about, relating the consorts to the courtesans back in the day, right? Or the concubines, if you wanted to call them that as well, which I think this translation calls them. So, that kind of dichotomy between those two classes and kind of talking about the roles for women in both of them. So it sets up your expectations to a point where only bad things will happen to women until a certain portion in the show when good things can start to happen. I thought we were still setting up that theming, but no, we had a particularly smart woman who used her own kind of circumstances and her own personal goals to get what she ultimately wanted, right? Which was the opposite of what everybody else has been aspiring to up to this point, which seems to be power. She didn't want power. And then there's a specific line here about love. Love can change a woman. And then you thinking about that, and then of course we have all the context surrounding Jinshi and what he's trying to do as well. So again, we'll talk about it. I think Jinshi is fascinating, these 2 episodes. Somebody who is explicitly used by the Emperor. Maybe not explicitly, maybe explicitly. I don't know. He's using his looks, right? Hey, you're a pretty boy. I'm going to put you here as a method of control over certain people, right? And then he's like, why is my control method working on this one particular girl like it has worked before, right? So in that way, much like the women in the show, he's a man being used by the system for a very similar purpose. This is all very fascinating, and I'm talking very big picture early. So maybe I should get back to episode 2, which I think that's the establishment episode. That's the one where we're like, okay, here's a bunch of new characters. Here's what we're going to be doing day in, day out. We didn't even really talk about the poisoning thing all that much. I guess there's something to be metaphorically said for that poisoning about blaming somebody else when it actually, it was just somebody's internal mistake as opposed to somebody maliciously poisoning somebody else. Could that be anything? I don't know. And then somebody else taking the blame for that. Either way, fascinating. I'm going to go get up episode 2 and we can talk about this in a little bit more detail. And now after I said all those really nice things about the episode, it's time to talk about, it's almost like a staple across all anime. Horses just look bad animated. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why people keep putting horses in their shit. Look at these fuckers. They just look kind of terrible, no? I guess, yeah, you kind of got to do what you got to do, but It's always very noticeable. And again, this isn't a specific Apothecary Diaries problem. It's an industry-wide problem. Very hard to animate a horse. Chili Apothecary is the kind of title of the episode. Chili? Oh yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. I don't remember what Chili is specifically talking about. So yeah, explicitly here we see this shot of him kind of shaving off the stick, putting the shavings into the fire, throwing various pieces of wood, eating off of the wood as well as like a skewer. Like, hey, yeah, the wood was the poison. It was the implement, not somebody else's malicious actions. Now, a lot of the male characters in the show look very generic, to the point where this guy looks like the military commander at the end of episode 3, right? So is that like the same guy, or is it just like a generic-looking soldier guy? We'll see. I don't think it really matters, like at all. Nah, actually, specifically, this is Fuyo, right? So that's Fuyo there, and she's reading something about the military guy. Okay, no. They're already putting the shit into motion already. Gotcha. So that definitely is the same guy. Now, this guy's name, Gao Shun. I'm unsure there, but yeah, he seems based. I like that guy. Either way, right here, right now, we're just kind of establishing stuff in the episode. Like, oh, there was a poisoning, and people think the villagers did it. Also, you've hired a new lady-in-waiting to serve concubine Gokyo. And that would be our friend Mao Mao, of course. Oh, and this went over my head as well. So, compared to concubine Liha, who is, you know, apparently on the horizon as of the preview at the end of episode 3, she has a bunch of ladies, where Lady Gyokyo only has the 4. So, interesting to watch, again, just like the different levels of power between those people, even though the Emperor has his favoritism, of course. Yeah, a lot of setup in this scene as well, because then it's like, okay, Lady Gokyo, she isn't dumb, right? She realizes bringing in somebody to be that close to her in this kind of place of political tension, if you could even call it that, right? Like, that's a recipe for disaster, especially somebody that is, like, well-versed and, you know, with poisons. Like, that sounds like a bad idea. What if she's a spy? Something like that. What if she can be convinced by something else, right? You know, she has family, she has ties elsewhere. What if Lady Liha gets kind of wind of that, is able to manipulate Mao Mao in some way, and then she's able to poison Lady Gyokyo? Then that would be bad. Therefore, we need Jinchi. Hey, Jinchi, you get in there. You control her. You control her with affection. You control her with love, which is an interesting theming in the show, of course. Specifically in the language here, I found just the right pawn. So that's how you're considering her at the moment, just another piece on the chessboard. Ending that scene there, we have Jinchi. Maybe I should seduce her just a little bit, just in case. It's something he keeps in the back pocket at all times for manipulation. And now we get to the comedic portion of the episode, which is just kind of Mao Mao pushing Jinchi away at every single opportunity. Like, hey, like, what's this guy doing here? Why do you have nothing better to do? What? Why do you have this, like, group of women following you? That's kind of weird. And again, tries to put on the moves, and then you're just like, oh, that's fucking disgusting. As we learn later in the episode, Jinchi actually gets off on this as well, so you shouldn't give him this stuff either. Just nothing. Don't give him anything. You could talk a little bit deeper and say something subverting anime shoujo tropes as well if you wanted to. Like, oh, she's the shoujo protagonist that runs away from the Bishonen guy. But so much of that stuff is so like even 1980s at this point. Like, we've subverted that already, like, a number of times. If anything, now it's becoming a little bit cliche. It would be, like, kind of fun to have, like, a straightforward shoujo in current year. Just, like, there's hot guys and the girl's kind of into it. I don't know. It could be something. I don't know. Just on her terms, you know. And now we have names. I'm going to struggle here. I'm essentially just going to call them the ladies in waiting, I think, for Lady Gyokyo. Because there's a group of 4 of them, and they have names that are foreign to me, which means I have to try. And I don't like trying. Honyang, and she seems like the main one in charge, right? And we get introduced to the 3 kind of lower ranking ones that seem to keep in a group. Again, mainly used for comedic purposes at the moment. Weird thing to say, but I think her baby's kind of adorable. I like the baby. She's cute. And then, yeah, we're just kind of introducing the space. This is where you're going to be living now, Mao Mao. This is the people. This is the things you'll be doing. This is your quarters, all that kind of stuff. Yinha? Again, I'm so bad with the names. Let me hear how they say it. Yinha? Yeah, I'm gonna struggle. And yeah, I swear to God, I recognize her VA, but I looked her up. She's nobody that I know specifically. So Yingha, Gulen, and Ailan. Sure. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to call them the ladies in waiting. There's a very quick moment here where Mau Mau has her sleeves covered here and then puts her hand down. We notice the bandage immediately, and all three girls notice. And the go is that I think with bigger places, maybe like Lady Liha's as well, that would have people in here, you know, doing the housework and that kind of thing. But really here, it's just us. So, hey, like, you know, let's get working. Mau Mau's already been working here, so she's ready to jump in and do something, right? But however, everybody noticed the bandage and want her to go rest in her room. Clearly you're still recovering from something. Clearly this is a big deal to us, not a big deal to Mau Mau. I think they think it's abuse. We'll see. Yeah, she was hiding something under those bandages. There were scars under them, right? She must have been abused by her parents back home. I think it's the exact opposite, if I'm honest. And yeah, they think that she's been sold off. Yeah, no, not the vibe. Maybe you could understand this if you talk to her about it, but again, they see it as something of a faux pas. They don't want to bring up trauma. Sure. The kind of, what would you call it, scar? Whatever it is, it's very interesting. I want to see its origins. I want to see how it ties into her role as an apothecary as well. Experimenting on herself even at points. Yeah, there's some fun stuff there. Mau Mau is unsure why the girls were sympathetic, but kind of appreciates the new digs regardless. It seems like she's gotten a pretty good promotion here. Here we finally see the thing that Mau Mau was specifically brought in to do. You've got a taste for poison. You're an apothecary, right? You should know what to recognize and that kind of thing. Hey, there's a chance that she's getting poisoned, Lady Gokyo. You gotta eat the food before her. At least take a bite. But again, this is just nothing but good news for you. This is such an upgrade, and I finally get to eat, like, good food again. Again, last episode she was characterized, or last week I should say, she was characterized by, like, liking sake as well. It seems like she likes to indulge somewhat as well. The simple pleasures, food and beverages. However, very quickly out of that comedic tone, we're into the seriousness of it. There is a lot of people which this food changes through the hands of. These people could poison Our Lady. That's bad. Back when Lady Gokyo was pregnant, she was potentially, like, she was attempted poisoned twice, and then the tester kind of, you know, tasted the food and got poisoned and stuff. And then, like, it was pretty bad for her, you know? So look out, this isn't just like I get to eat time. There's a potential chance that you will die if you don't recognize the poison. I guess I should talk a little bit more about the direction of the show rather than just the plot recap. I'm really liking these sections. It feels very manga. These sections here where we pan through, like, oh yeah, just kind of focusing on the food there and it kind of changing color over time to this deep purple, which is associated with the show and the poison as the situation gets more and more serious. Again, there's nice flourishes and stuff all over the show. I would say I would classify it as a plot show right now rather than a kind of character or production show. Like, what are you selling the show on? I would say it's the story right now, but that's not to discount the other elements, which I think are still pretty good. Picking up the tone of the scene, Mau Mau now starts to take it pretty seriously. She also notices the plates here that they aren't silver and suggests it as an improvement later on. In reality, they already had the silver plates. They're just kind of using it to test Mau Mau at the moment, which is interesting. This is an interesting line as well. As I was kind of experimenting on myself and my kind of wound on my arm, I gradually trained my body to deal with poisons. I wonder how true this is. Like if I give her, like, cyanide, is she gonna be okay? Is it, like, supernatural to that point? Or is it more like, I don't know. We'll see how this manifests, I guess. Is it, like, supernatural? Despite herself, again, two sides of Mau Mau, she starts to feel pretty good about tasting the food and thinks it tastes pretty good. And the cat ears come out. Again, the serious Mau Mau and the one that just wants to, you know, have a little bit of fun, just coast by. The cat ears, that kind of vibe. Now, this scene went over my head the first time, but I kind of see what's going on here, right? I think, okay, so you drop the expensive vase right there on purpose, right? So essentially here we have Hongyang. She's like, okay, you don't want to get paid as much because you're trying to spite your kidnappers, essentially. They're making money off of you. You think that sucks. You want to give them as least money as possible. So she recognizes this and it's like, hey, what if we charged them? What if we gave them a bill? Then they wouldn't be so keen, huh? And then maybe they would run away and disown you and that kind of thing, and you'd be free to your own devices, free from the initial kidnappers anyway. So yeah, we smash the vase, and then we both feign like, oh yeah, you know, please take it out of the money that you're going to give to my family. Because you're giving it to my family, not my kidnappers, right? If that's not enough, take it from my savings as well, the money that they would have gotten anyway. It's pretty smart. I like that scene in retrospect. By the way, now that we've got that sorted out, here's the pay that you actually get for the food tasting service. You know, it's almost equal to my regular salary. I'm making more money here, and I'm making more money that's actually for me rather than the people that I don't like that kidnapped me. She sure knows how to motivate her workers. Yeah, seems like the ladies in waiting are pretty clutch. We like them. They really want to be on Mau Mau's side. They feel her plight. It seems like everybody's on the same page right now. It feels good. I'm interested to see if it'll stay good. Continuing from the previous scene, we have the rest of the ladies in waiting not wanting Mau Mau to work, still seeing that wound on her arm, of course. And she feels bored as a result. She's normally used to doing a bunch of work during the day, and she's forced to just kind of lie down. Seems to be an animal thing going on with Mau Mau as well. Again, just kind of tasting food every single day. That's her job. She feels a little bit pig-like as a result, with the animal features appearing on the character design. Very, very smart. Also, Aoi Yuki's little vocal twing there for the pig sound is very good as well. What is it, like, buhe? Buhe? That's very funny. I like that. Yeah, the show's pretty funny. I like this stuff where he like turns one way to the rest of the ladies in waiting. She goes, or they go crazy. Turns to Mau Mau. She gives him nothing. Why won't this work on her? Normally the moves just work on her. What's the go? But Jinchi has actually called Mau Mau out for a reason. Here's some bao buns. They were made from some military officer gave them to us, right? Do you want to taste them first? She sniffs them immediately and sees that there's an aphrodisiac inside. Okay, weird. I can tell by smell, by the way. And then Jinchi seems visibly disappointed. And it's like, oh, he wanted me to eat an aphrodisiac? That's fucking strange. Okay. And again, Lady Gokyo, she knows the entire vibe here, and she's just pissing herself laughing. That's funny. Just relentlessly seeing Jinchi trying to work his magic and not being successful. Oh, that's really interesting as well. So Mau Mau was in like one kind of mode as she was like kind of in that first scene, but then we change tact and we talk about the poisoning that occurred at the very start of the episode. As soon as she hears that word poison, her ears prick up again. She's like, oh, serious mode again. Okay, I gotta poison. I'm into that. That's my area of interest. I'm going to, pursue that with a little bit more vigor than just kind of chilling with everybody else. Yeah, so okay. So that situation from the very start of the episode, it was diffused by that military officer, right? They were going to arrest and basically kill the village chief, the people that prepared the food, right? But the military officer stepped in, and maybe that's what kind of all this communication with Jinchi is about. It's like, okay, do you have any knowledge about poisons? And then maybe that piece of knowledge, right? What we talk about here with it was on the sticks and that kind of thing and in the fire. That's where the poison was. Maybe that's the piece of information that got him the promotion to the point where he could marry Fuyo, right? Is that anything? If it is indeed the same military officer. Really good shot here on Mau Mau's kind of eureka moment as well, when she realizes, and we focus in on the rhododendron. Was that the name of the flower? Yeah, rhododendron. She uses it as an example again, right? As an example that poison can be everywhere at any moment if you don't know, right? So this flower here, which was used as a metaphor before as a warning, it's poison, and it's here in the palace right here, right now. Like, we've spent this whole episode so deathly afraid of poison, when in reality it's still in the room with us. The same philosophy can be applied to the soldiers. Maybe they use something poison in the cooking process that they didn't realize, because they're not knowledgeable, like me. And again, talks more to the fact like she's eating the flower petal, and it's supposedly poison, and she's still fine. So again, that resistance to poison that we talked about. And again, even Mau Mau here, it's fortunate that the bright officer was there. We could have lost the whole village. We could have, they could have been like a riot erupt, essentially, right? But no, that officer that's like, hey, let's not be hasty. And then again, is that the same officer off of your recommendation in a way, which is weird. You have power that you don't even know. So now I need to rewatch the end of the episode again, right? But why do you want to make an aphrodisiac? Is it because she'll like eat some in the process of making it, like taste a little bit? Is that anything? Do you plan to do something else with it? I don't know. I forget the rest of the episode from here. But like one more thing, and then he like crosses his legs and like sits back. Can you make an aphrodisiac? A little bit strange, Jinchi. I don't know about all that. Not thinking about the implications, Mau Mau is just very happy to be doing some apothecary work again, and excitedly dances around. Yeah, here we go. This was some of the stuff I was talking about. So we have a scene there of Jinchi just kind of walking at night with Gaoshun, right? And there's a lady that kind of tries to call Jinchi into her room, right? And she's like swooning. She fucking falls to her knees. It's pretty ridiculous, but that's the point. Jinshi is so unimaginably attractive that he's almost there as a test for everybody else, right? That they maintain their loyalty to the emperor. Hence why this place has no men. Everybody's a eunuch. But again, you don't give off eunuch vibes. That's what Mao Mao said, which is interesting. But yeah, like everybody has to be chaste. Chastity is very important in the eyes of the emperor, apparently, and you're there to test particular concubines if they maintain their loyalty to the emperor. Gao Shun here comments that it's a pretty kind of cynical way to look at Jinshi, kind of using him as a pawn, then using his beauty to test these ladies. But Jinshi seems okay with it. He's okay with his lot in life, at least now. The one thing that frustrates him, the thorn in his side, is that Mao Mao feels no lust for him at all. In reality, she gives him looks of utter disgust. But again, he gets off on that, which is weird. I would say this show really benefits from a second watch. It is very fast, and I'm imagining like that's the reality of making a novel into an anime, right? Where novels can have fun little details spawn into things later on to the point where you need to include all of them early, even in an anime, right? So it kind of feels like we're brushing past stuff sometimes, little jokes and that kind of thing that will become relevant later. Makes it all feel a little bit fast. But hey, fast isn't a bad thing. I mean, I watched Tatami Galaxy, now that's fucking fast. Jesus Christ. So Gao Shun is here to assist Mao Mao with some of the apothecary stuff, making of the aphrodisiac. The original quack doctor guy, he seems to be unhappy that Mao Mao is here, like under his breath, just like cussing her out and stuff. But yeah, that's a great show. We're really happy that, or Mao Mao's really happy that she gets to finally do her job again. And this little stupid dance that she does, I love that shit. That's, again, good stuff. Yeah, another really interesting scene there. Mao Mao compliments Gao Shun's kind of ability to pick up on things very quickly. I get the feeling that Mao Mao respects Gao Shun quite a bit. And then it's like, well, why the fuck is he here? And why the fuck is Jinshi just hanging around while I'm making an aphrodisiac and moving heaven and earth so I can get the ingredients? That's a little bit weird, because we're out of cacao, right? Which is one of the ingredients involved here. He just goes and gets more. Why are you serving me in that regard? Why is this so important to you? Oh, and this is the misunderstanding as well. We have the rest of the ladies in waiting just kind of watching her. It's like, oh, those are expensive ingredients. Is she making a snack? And that's why they taste it later on. This seems to be a running theme. But Mao Mao has experienced a lot of these things in her past, right? She got given an aphrodisiac that was called chocolate back in the day when she was hanging around it was called the house, it was essentially the brothel. She was hanging around and she accidentally took some and, the aphrodisiac occurred. It turns out that some sleazy guy wanted to use it on one of the ladies of that house, and the shrewd old lady kicked him out. So again, drawing upon this past experience for the now, equating the brothel to the rear palace, as we've done a number of times. So Mao Mao made the aphrodisiac. She had some leftover ingredients and made them into, it looked like a brownie or something, and she just sat it over there to cool, really. And then got distracted by a bunch of medicinal herbs that were just growing in the garden, and proceeded to collect them all because she's Mao Mao and that's what she does. She comes back to the little apothecary den there, the little lab, and finds that her little experiment has gone awry, I guess. I mean, depending on your perspective, this looks pretty good to me. But, yeah, unwillingly took a pretty strong aphrodisiac. And these lilies, you guys ain't slick. That's kind of funny. Okay. Even this part here. The show is a lot more... What's it rated? Because she's, like, looking under the dress, and it's like, oh, they didn't go all the way. That's fine. Pretty funny. But yeah, it's I wasn't expecting the show to be quite as explicit as it is. So yeah, it feels very mature show. It really does. I don't think that a younger audience would get much out of it. It's also very wordy, which is not something that's normally associated with younger fans of anime. Also like this like what would you even call it? Stunning admission from Mao Mao that she made a bunch of these like little midnight snack aphrodisiac things for herself, just for her to enjoy late at night. Hey, you do you. I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yum. But apparently if you're used to alcohol and other stimulants, like we've implied before, you like your sake, it won't be as strong. So yeah, maybe she's not having such a good night to herself. Jinshi jokes here that he would like to eat one. Oh yeah, it's, I'm resistant to this kind of stuff. And then by the very end of the scene, he actually has enjoyed one. Lady Gyokyo just yucking up the entire time. I think, yeah, she She watches and laughs. She's quite charming, I like her. We seem to be implying things about Jinshi as well with regards to his sexuality, potentially. Like, male or female would look at this face and they wouldn't be able to say no. He does have a great face. So Mao Mao, she isn't stupid. She realizes that he's pretty. She just doesn't get anything out of it. It's not her area of passion. But yeah, we're implying things like, you know, we do something next episode as well with, like, are you one of the Emperor's favorite boys or something like that, which is, again, interesting. Yeah, even this joke here, pretty, like, dirty, right? Lady Gokyo's like, can you give some of these aphrodisiacs to the Emperor so things don't get too boring? And it's like, yeah, it's not, 3 times as powerful as the usual dose. It's like 3 times? Does that mean duration? That's great. Okay, yeah, awesome. Okay. Because, again, that's what you would be interested in, duration, right? As opposed to anything else, if you were to give them to the Emperor. That's kind of funny. Yeah, let's pretend I didn't hear that. I don't need to know all that. Very funny. Now, wrapping up the episode here, we have Lady Gyokyo, a little bit schemy with her main lady-in-waiting here. She can make poisons, huh? She's an apothecary? How reliable. We can use this to our advantage. Again, maybe you put on a face for some people. Maybe I even fell for it. Somewhat charming. But secretly plotting behind the scenes a little bit more than we recognize at the moment. But because to me, it seems like Lady Gyokyo's in, like, she's in the box seat. If you have the Emperor's affection, isn't that half the battle? Right? As opposed to Lady Liha, who has been the other one shown in the show thus far. But again, there's a lot more concubines around, I guess. We'll say, as the show kind of continues here. We finished the show here with, we finished the episode here with Jinshi being a little bit touchy-feely with Mao Mao after he took one of the aphrodisiacs himself. Again, continuing to put on the moves, trying to get her affections, I guess. I don't think, again, looks and lust and that kind of thing aren't the way to get to Mao Mao. You have to meet her on a level. I feel like she respects Gao Shun and his utility more than any of your frivolous aesthetics, I guess. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one to follow. Jinshi looking to keep Mao Mao in the back pocket. Maybe some party there will actually catch feelings. It'll progress into something else. It's an interesting start, for sure. Then we have the kind of tease for the next episode. We've done this a couple of times now. We did this with episode 1 into episode 2, with the poisoning at the camp, just kind of a real non sequitur at the end of the episode. This one here is very similar, where we see somebody dancing on the gate there. Very, very cool. We even see the steps where they could have climbed up, which is a nice detail. And then it's like, oh yeah, look at the eyes there. Looks very scary. Looks like some prototypical horror villain ring-looking motherfucker. Scary. It's the scary kind of lead into the next episode. A little bit horrific. Doesn't really end up that way. We learn things very quickly. Again, I'm wondering how the novel is structured, or the light novel, I guess I should say. Like, is each of these like a set of chapters? Is it split into parts? Like, how are these stories like leading into one another, I guess? I really should read one of these one day, like a light novel. I guess I have Bakemonogatari up there. I never really did continue it, but I should read more. I really should. Anyway, let's get up episode 3. Now, I spent a long time yapping there about episode 2, and I thought this one was well better than it, so hopefully I won't spend as much time yapping, but the show gets me yapping. I don't know what it is. It's in my worst interests to yap as well, because I'll run out of time again. Either way, I've kind of gone through this scene already. We have Lady Fuyo here, where it seems like she's been given as a reward to a military officer for marriage. We don't learn that information yet, but that's what's going on in this scene. It's here to set up intrigue early. The episode is called The Unsettling Matter of the Spirit, which is interesting. I guess the spirit as in the ghost that is said to be walking the streets, the walls of the rear palace. Again, she's doing a good job acting here. She looks fucking devastated. And then, yeah, from that scene to the next one, it's pretty easily implied that this is Lady Fuyo, especially once we learn that the spirit here is female. Again, everyone's got 2 sides in this show, sometimes even more. And Lady Fuyo here is a great example of that as well. On one side, she can... Again, it talks to a level of performance as well. How skilled she is actually as a performer. The same thing with associating with the dance later on. It becomes unbelievable that she made a slip-up in the dance that's implied to be in front of the Emperor before, if only on purpose. That's the only way it would make sense. Yeah, okay, it's all falling into place a little bit more now. It's a great little mystery. I really should, I didn't take the show seriously enough yesterday, I don't think. And I'm sorry for that. Now, I'm not much on the geography of China, but it seems like these guys are from the West, right? The Western capital is where they used to be. Now, does the Western capital have a modern-day equivalent? But they also say the Sand. Oh, the Sand is something. Or are they talking about two different places there? Now, in China, the Sand wouldn't be to the west, it would be to the east, no? That would make sense to me. Anyway, I'm sure it's unimportant, but it seems like this is where Lady Gokyo is from. Everybody was from here, right? Because she brought her ladies in waiting, with her when she came over to the main palace with the emperor, right? Or for the emperor, I guess I should say. So again, all these guys are from the same location. They've been day ones. They're pretty loyal to Lady Gyokyo. These people here, the ladies in waiting, are probably related to well-to-do people from the West as well, right? So one of their fathers said that, trade between the West and central capitals is on the rise, basically predicated on Lady Gyokyo. So they got that information from, again, higher-ups over West, which is pretty interesting. It also goes to show the political nature, the economic nature of these these marriages and the children and that kind of thing, right? Like, it would be beneficial trade-wise or societally-wise if Lady Gyokyo was to be successful. The stakes are high, I guess. They reinforced this scene by remarking that, again, she's been poisoned more times than even we thought, right? 2 have been by food, right? But 1 was a needle found in her dress that she could have sat on and then poisoned her, which is kind of crazy. Like, everybody's got to be sharpest, right? Because they're gunning for her. The stakes are high, as I keep trying to emphasize, but that's okay. We have a new lady in waiting now, one that is skilled in poisons. I believe this is Mao Mao using the medicinal herbs that she collected last episode, right? And you think that it's just lawn clippings or something, and think that she's just eating like a peasant. It's like, no, are you sure you don't need anything? You don't need to eat just lawn clippings. Please don't keep your troubles to yourself. Again, implying stuff about the bandage on the arm as well. It's all great. They just misunderstand. Episodes are very similarly structured, actually, because we had a scene last episode, I believe it was between Gao Shun and Jinshi, which just kind of introduced what was going on this episode and what to look out for. This time we have a scene between Mao Mao and Zhao Lan, I believe? Exposition Girl, Elf 9. Where she's like, hey, the spirit is here. Oh my god, there's a spirit roaming the walls. It's definitely not... It's definitely not a trick at all. It's almost like something like Hyoko or something. We just kind of introduced the mystery of the episode before kind of debunking it by the very end using our detective skills. Very cool. And again, that mystery in itself reveals something a little bit deeper about the characters and what their desires are. Very Hyoka, actually. I think if you like Hyoka, you would like this. Another specific detail is that, hey, the spirit, it always appears at the eastern gate on the walls, right? Something that will become relevant later on. Again, all this stuff I think works better in a novel format. It just kind of goes over my head in an anime format, and maybe I need to be paying more attention, taking notes potentially. Again, classic mystery stuff. You introduce all the parameters. Nobody else could get in, so it has to be somebody inside the palace itself. Mao Mao's pretty good at this. She's pretty good at deducing things. There's something quite poetic about the moat around the palace itself being like, oh yeah, it's the corpses of all the concubines that tried to run away. And then there's something poetic about a concubine actually running away through her own little political maneuvering over said moat. Like, they welcomed her to leave, which is kind of crazy. Instead of running away, she manipulated a way to run away without it looking like she's running away. Very, very smart. That's very smart for the episode too. We also have the, I guess you could call it the development for the quack doctor. He's now really nice to Mao Mao. I think he realized that she has talent and that he can profiteer off the talent. If she's just here making medicine all day and I just have to serve her, I'm happy enough to do that. If she's going to do all the work, that's awesome. Should he really be so laid back, getting me snacks and that kind of thing? Shouldn't he be working? He just kind of sucks. However, just as we're about to snack, Jinshi shows back up, again, just to be around Mao Mao, continuing to try to put on his moves. Again, Mao Mao questions, what the fuck does he do all day? Why is he here again? Oh my god. Yeah, this is the implication, right? Is he the Emperor's personal favorite boy? And then we get this scene here. Ooh, very scandalous. Mao Mao's a schemer. You saw it there. Why is he here all day? well, clearly he outranks this person and this person, and then, okay, well, he must be related to the Emperor some way, blah, blah, blah. Is it this? Like, just thinking about a bunch of things in her head constantly that aren't said aloud. She's good like that, I think. I think the flip of the scene is the quack doctor here being treated as the help. Like, you go and take this. I'm talking to the person that actually matters here. And then brings up the spirit haunting. I want Mau Mau in on this. I think you're slowly realizing her talents for deduction as well. Something that I just noticed then. And immediately jumps from the spirit side of it to the actual explanation. Is she sleepwalking? That would, that's something that I have some knowledge about as an apothecary. Something that I can have a cure for, potentially. Leaning right into her personal space, trying to put on those moves. Again, there's a subtext to the scene as well. Mau Mau really doesn't want to get closer to Jinshi. She finds him kind of creepy, right? Why is he so persistent? What does he want from me? It's weird, right? However, Jinshi continues to be, persistent. Can you please help me with the sleepwalking thing? Even though it's not your area of expertise. And the persistence works. She eventually folds. She gave him another look of disgust, though, and we know how he feels about that. Yeah, this is the line. This guy doesn't come off like a eunuch, so should he even be here? I thought the implication was that no men were allowed. Or men that weren't eunuchs, I guess I should say. I don't know what this Shao Mao thing is. Maybe it's a show of respect or something like that. He originally goes with a Mau Mau Sama. It's like, no, I like underrank you. You're rank higher than me. I was like a servant. I'm like nobody. Don't give me the Sama. A Shao nickname? Is it something like a Chan? So he called a Mau Mau Chan. Something like that. Interesting. Okay, sure. And this is the line I kept referring to. Gao Shun tells Mau Mau to stop looking at Jinshi like that because he gets off on it. And, he loves that shit. If you actually want to, if you actually want to turn him off, you give him nothing. Not these looks of disgust. He's a creep. Jinshi, Jesus. I don't like the editing here, just to get a little bit critical. We kind of go straight from that scene. We walk several paces, and then we're straight into the ghost stuff. I wish it appeared a little bit more naturally there. It seems like a really harsh cut. I keep saying the ghost. That's Fuyo, and she's dancing in the moonlight. Looking great doing so. Now again, this feels like a perfect setup, right? And this is why I fell for it. She's only allowed to dance in the moonlight. She's only allowed to dance when men deem that she's able to dance and that kind of thing, right? She, much like all the other characters in the show, are being denied by their true passions, even their true femininity, by the system that they're currently occupied in. I thought that's the direction we were going in. As a matter of fact, we were subverting that. She was making us feel like she was a character just like everybody else, trapped by the system. But she was manipulating the system behind the scenes to get exactly what she wanted, and Mau Mau was the only one to see through it. Brilliant. That's actually a brilliant writing decision. Very, very smart. But again, such a complicated episode for very early in the show. Even Mau Mau here, she's kind of enchanted by her beauty. I really like this look on her face. It's the one time, or one of the few times, we've actually seen Mau Mau, taken aback by something. Yeah, Lady Fuyo, she's the spirit in question. She's been kind of bestowed to a military officer. Arranged marriage, essentially. It's been 2 years. She was a timid princess. She's supposed to be a skilled dancer, but stumbled at her first showing. It's interesting that you're the one to give this information as well. I guess you would know. The Emperor hasn't laid a finger on her since, and she shut herself in ever since then. Interesting. So again, devaluing herself in the eyes of the Emperor once we learned that the slip itself was intentional. And everyone feels sorry for her. A bestowal? I'll feel sorry for her. Or I feel sorry for her if I can speak. Now, it's interesting that the canonically not very smart character in the Quack Doctor is the one that says this. Maybe I should have picked that up. The one that isn't thinking as much as maybe a Mau Mau. And now she starts to think, okay, maybe it was the shock of this incident that started her to sleepwalk, right? They say that illness is a result of an unbalanced mind. She was, again, deeply embarrassed and regretful that she slipped, and that's led to some amount of stress causing her to sleepwalk. But no, that's just an initial theory. She needs some more information here. Maybe I'll take a look at her. You want to gather some more information, go over to the north side to her room. Oh, this is a piece of information as well. Poor princess, again, she's from this small vassal state. She probably doesn't want to go back and probably wants to cling to the palace, right? Wrong. That ticks something off in your head. Huh. She's from a small vassal state, huh? Let's see. And we especially don't reveal that piece of information that she's from the east, I think it is, in the end, right? That's why she's on the Eastern Gate as well. gazing off to the place that she will eventually go to. Again, the mass is there. I shudder at the thought of being bestowed to a military officer, as opposed to, again, somebody important like the Emperor. But again, that's what the masses think. Maybe that's what Fuyo wants everybody to think, you know? So either way, we kind of sneak up. Gaoshun's just kind of here. I like this guy a lot. I think he's based. Have you guys seen BoJack Horseman? He gives me Judah vibes, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that's a weird pull, but he does. But Mao Mao just kind of spies Fuyo and goes, she seems pretty normal, very different than how she was before. She's very unassuming most of the time, and then Mao Mao remarks that she's like a cotton rose. Now, we explained this one here, but I wanted to look up the Hanakotoba as well, so let me look up cotton rose. I don't know if this is anything. Cotton flower. This seems very different. No, this isn't the one. Okay. But yeah, it's like, cherish the people around you and promise of wealth and well-being. That would make sense. I couldn't really see anything really specific. I saw some stuff for, I guess, the cotton rose as a concept. Where was it? It was the first option here. What was it? What does the cotton rose symbolize? Growth and adaptability? But I mean, we could have seen that regardless, I think. Again, it isn't framed very well, but sue me, whatever. Growth and adaptability, that's demonstrated by this scene already. It's already changing color, which I think is the meaning of the flower. We can act a certain way. There's two sides. The real meaning is somewhere else. Maybe this deep pink being like the love that hides at the base of it, Again, the pink in the change of the flower, that could almost be seen as the beauty. Lady Fuyo is beautiful is a line that's very end of the episode. If love makes you beautiful, right? Then what kind of medicine would it make? Then we have quite a weird moment here from Gaoshun, where he just kind of looks at Mao Mao. I don't know what this is about, and I am not going to speculate, basically. I don't know. Okay, so full disclosure, I've already recorded the end of this video, and I've come back now because it kind of corrupted and it was weird looking, right? So now I should be able to succinctly talk about why people make certain decisions when they make them, because I've rewatched the episode essentially again. This is me going back through it again. So this is a crucial piece of information for Mao Mao. So first, Lady Fuyo, when she was sleepwalking, she appeared on the north side and then moved to the east, right? So the east is important to it. The military officer, the one that she likes, her childhood friend, he was battling barbarians in the east. So east becomes important. Why did she specifically choose to appear in that place? The east was relevant to what she was ultimately trying to achieve. And it's ultimately the piece that clicks everything into place for Mao Mao. She's then like, Dad said I shouldn't just move on speculation, but I really deeply kind of understand what's going on here now. So now we have this scene where Mao Mao is presenting her findings, at least publicly, to the rest of, Lady Gyokyo and her people, right? She's not going to tell them the speculation, she's just going to say what Lady Fuyo wants people to believe, what the masses believe here at the moment, that it's caused by stress. Poor girl, she's been bestowed off to this military officer, that's why she's sleepwalking now, right? She deeply doesn't want this to happen, when in reality, we know what she actually wants here. Again, we do this quite a lot in the show. We relate one of the stories here happening in the rear palace to something that happened back in the day with Mao Mao and one of the girls of the brothel. So essentially, this story here is that, hey, I'm this, well-to-do young lady. I'm quite good at poetry, quite smart, quite beautiful, quite funny, and I've been sold off to this old creepy guy. Sounds pretty bad. Essentially, this girl, she didn't want to be bought by old mate, so she started roaming around the brothel at night, as if possessed by a demonic spirit. She was stressed at the prospect of being purchased by a creepy old man. And I particularly like this style in the kind of flashback stuff, right? It's like the details are sketchy. You can't quite see the background. It's kind of starting to fade. It's like it's a painting, right? That's, withered with time. You can remember certain elements of the people, but you can't see the features on the face. Even the audio here is kind of muffled. You can't quite remember everything. It captures a certain feeling, like a memory of, your actions when you were quite young. She had no recollection of the night before. Nothing happened. The purchase offer was rescinded. The sleepwalking stopped. Clearly she didn't want to, be with the guy. The stress stopped. Thus the sleepwalking stopped, right? But as is explored later, now this is with a different girl, I believe, at the same brothel. Now, she had a purchase offer from some guy that was very high. Then she started to sleepwalk on purpose to lower her price, right? It's like, I don't want a girl that sleepwalks, that's fucking weird. And then that got her price low enough to where she could be with the one she loved, which is exactly what Lady Fuyo is doing as well. Matching the military officer's status with her status by bringing his up by being a good military officer and bringing hers down by being a bad consort. But clearly here we have Mao Mao hiding information. She doesn't want to say all the details right now. She wants to go with the public narrative because she really feels for Lady Fuyo and her story and wants her to ultimately succeed. She saw her on the kind of gate. She looked beautiful in the moonlight. There's a really interesting scene here as well. After explaining that little story about the courtesan, looking down at her own daughter is Lady Gokyo, maybe thinking about, what would I think if my daughter was in a similar situation? How would I feel about that? And maybe approaching like her lack of questioning here with the same thing. I would feel for my daughter if she was in the same situation, so why not let Lady Fuyo be free? But again, Jinchi is like, is that really everything? Just really pressing her, right? Yeah, that's everything. Everything. He knows. He kind of knows that there's more to the story here. I don't know if he knows explicitly, but, you know, there's three very smart people here trying to, like, out-slick each other. Everyone thinks they're being slick here. Again, we're continuing that joke there as well around Gao Shun telling Mao Mao to not give Jinchi any weird looks because he gets off on it. So now everybody goes with the public narrative that she's distraught at the prospect of being bestowed to a military officer, when in reality, this is everything falling into place. Even I fell for the ruse, right, in the episode. I'm like, this is ultimately very sad. She's not allowed to go outside and dance anymore. She wants to dance. Now she'll be able to dance all she wants back at her place with her childhood friend. Sounds amazing, right? And this line from Mao Mao, she knows everything here at the moment. I hope it works out. And Mao Mao's going to act weird for a bit. She's going to be like under the radar, just kind of, doing her own thing. And Gyokyo picks up on it. She's like, Mao Mao's not herself. And then obviously presses her on the issue towards the very end of the episode and everything comes out. Again, Mao Mao's almost like keeping a low profile, like very early in the show, on purpose here to not let this information slip about Lady Fuyo and allow her to achieve her ultimate dream. Then the day finally appears. I really like this shot of, I guess it's the entrance to the palace, right? Very early in the day, the light coming on the kind of pavilion there. Looks, very pretty, and sets up the dawn of the final day where Fuyo actually achieves her dream. Again, I love this here. There's, like, everybody like, oh, poor her, all these people around her, right? As she's kind of animated quite poorly walking away. Like, damn, I can't believe they got her like that, when in reality, she's still putting on this show, looking distraught. Just until that final moment when they're kind of together in that car, and they can finally embrace. We did it, And then Lady Gyokyo, very smart, comes up to Mao Mao. You can tell me what's going on here, right? You know that. And again, she prefaces it with this as, all speculation. This isn't the truth. But we know it's the truth, And we expand upon the story of the courtesan. I've kind of already talked about it. They essentially did the same thing at the brothel that they're doing now, right? There was manipulation, there was fraud to lower the price of one of the courtesans so that they could be with the one that they loved. Because he couldn't achieve her right now. The man himself, the wanted to buy her, the one that they wanted to be together, right? He didn't have the money, and the woman still had time left on her term. So, okay, how can we take out some money, or how can we take out some time and lower her price? She's going to feign sleepwalking, essentially, right? She's going to feign like she's damaged, like she's, not worthy of that kind of thing, and then the purchase offer is going to be rescinded, the initial one, that was already fraud to begin with. The price is going to be lowered. They're going to sell her off at a lower price, and she's going to be allowed to go off free with the person that she loves. And then we ensured a lot of things. That military officer, he defeated some barbarians very bravely. Where, again, I thought he was the guy from last episode. Maybe not. They don't really mention that here. But he elevated his status. He did his part of the bargain. When he was battling, Lady Fuyo was on that eastern gate looking out to see if he was safe and that kind of thing, right? Dancing, praying for him, that kind of vibe. He fulfilled it. He's ended the bargain. He was a hero. He asked to be bestowed to her, or asked for her to be bestowed to him, I guess. And then, they were finally able to be free together. Just like how he explained. And again, Lady Fuyo did her end of the bargain by slipping over when she was dancing in front of the Emperor, of course. Yeah, failed at the dancing here. Get the Emperor's eyes off of you. you know? That way, when the military officer asks for her specific hand, he won't care. It's not one of his girls, you know? Where, again, Lady Gyokyo, she has a kid with the guy now. She's in too deep. She can't do what Fuyo's doing now, you know? And again, talks to that concept of jealousy that we talk about at the very end of the episode too. And again, emphasizing chastity here. The Emperor himself didn't touch her, so her body's still pure to be with the one that she loved, you know? The childhood friend. And that kind of that look at the very end after slipping over, like that knowing look, all is going to plan, keikakudori. And again, ending that conversation there by saying, yeah, all speculation, when in reality it's perfectly true. And we see the confirmation as such here, as that kind of insert song starts up and we see a beautiful montage of these two people that love each other finally coming together, love conquering all. In the end, once I actually understand what's going on here, it's actually quite fantastic. I really, really enjoy this sequence. Yeah, some of these looks as well, heartbreaking. I can finally stop the act as well. I can finally stop being one side of the flower or another side of the flower. I can just be me. I can just be in love. Yeah, really delicate, pretty insert song here to buoy the scene. I really like it. And of course, we have Lady Gyokyo here being wistful about this entire concept, right? Being with the one you love. You know, love changing you, love making you beautiful. Are you really in love with the Emperor, or is he using you for your beauty, or you using him for power? What is a true, romantic, lovely relationship going to look like in that regard? So Lady Gyokyo, that's a little bit extra depth. That's good. But the one I don't expect, right, is this scene, and I guess I'll skip to it now, because why not? And go back and look at all that other lovely stuff, right? Almost Mao Mao being wistful about the concept of love as well. You seemed almost aromantic in the past. Like, this isn't a thing that would interest you. But maybe upon seeing Lady Fuyo and her beauty and saw how love changed her, you become interested, right? It's almost like a chemical reaction, and interested in the medicinal qualities of it, of course. If love makes a woman beautiful, then, what is the medicine of it? What's the line here? What kind of medicine would it make? A beautiful medicine, a lovely medicine, a love potion, attaching her apothecary to the concept of love, of course. And yeah, this whole montage is beautiful. I love the dancing with the insert song as well. The two sides of her acting ability, and then all these scenes of her off in her homeland very happy. Again, wistful about it. I wouldn't say that it's bad that you're envious of her, because I am as well. And now we see the cotton roses finally able to be that one color, not changing all the time, and able to be with the one she loves. Particularly love this background, just gorgeous. Evokes China in a really specific way as well. This is the scene as well. Finally, nobody's with us. We can finally be who we want to be, and we embrace. Lovely. Again, it's quite singular, this whole episode, but I think it's very beautiful. It talks to larger concepts in the series and reflects characters in a pretty cool way. I think this scene here implies that Jinchi knows as well and chose not to say anything. And then again, I've talked about this scene. Even though, again, the backgrounds are really gorgeous, I really like this shot here as well, when we kind of blow out the frame and just have the character very small within it, right? The color changing as well from the night to the day, mirroring the flower. And this whole world, this whole universe, the concept of love, everything else in between, towering over Mao Mao. It really feels like this overwhelming moment for her. Again, part of that genuineness coming out, as opposed to her normal, nonchalant attitude. And Lady Gyokyo, wistful as well. What does she actually want here? What is the overall goal? What would make her happy? And then we have this guy enter, and then this is the tease for the next episode. We have a request for the apothecary from whoever the hell that guy is. He has a big emblem on his shirt. He seems pretty important. And then, yeah, into the ED from there. So yeah, that episode's really, really good. I prefer that to every episode thus far. And I've talked about it too many times already. This was way too long of a recording session. This video's overwhelming, but this show is very, very good. And I underestimated it up to this point. Let's say that. Episodes 2 and 3 are fantastic. Well, 3 in particular. That whole Fuyo sequence is very good once you understand the mechanics of what's going on. I'm going to skedaddle because I got to go to work really soon. So yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. Patreon, you can get the next ones 1 week early, of course. And I'll catch you guys later. Thanks again. Goodbye.